From the time that I started there to the time I sold my practice, we never spent a dime on marketing. We got to a point where we probably had about 50 to 60 new patients per month. About 90% of those were from referrals. God, can you help me figure out what it's like to experience joy in life? I think I went 10 years without taking a vacation with my wife. If you don't know what your target is, it's pretty hard to know where to shoot.
I would like to thank those that joined in today. We have a very veteran, I should say, not very veteran, but a veteran uh, player in the dentist space who has worked as in the field for 13 years. He basically decided that his mission was to help other dentists. Once he found out that that he could do more work there. Help me in welcoming Dr. Eric Chatterley. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for that introduction, Ward. I'm excited to be here
Yeah.
and join you today in this discussion.
Oh, great, great, great. Well, as I tell most of the guests, this is your show. Basically, we want to find out everything there is we can find out about you and the business that you're doing. But first and foremost, I want to find out what got you involved in the dentist industry in the first place. Why did you do it?
Yeah, actually, when I first started college, I decided I wanted to go into accounting. So I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. I'm good with numbers. And after I graduated, worked and did some taxes for a little while, but soon realized I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I really love the idea of helping individuals one-on-one. I loved and appreciated healthcare in general. And I do have artistic talent and abilities. So I felt like dentistry was kind of a natural fit. My father, while I was growing up, was a dental practice transition specialist. And so I had an opportunity to work with him for quite a while, for a number of years, and was introduced into the dental world at that time. And so found that dentistry would be a great fit for what I was looking for to be able to help people with their dental health.
Oh, wow. So as an adult, you decided to pivot.
Yeah, it wasn't until after I graduated with my bachelor's and worked for a little while as an accountant that I decided to go back, do the prereqs for dental school. So that took me another couple years to pursue this new path before I could jump into dental school, and it was fantastic.
That's great. I like the way you took the bull by the horns as a youngster, actually, and said, "Hey, okay, I think I want after doing the accounting, I think I want to pivot." And the thing about it is, you had like a you had a head start on the business. A serious head start on the business end when you did go over to dentistry. So tell me about you being able to bring both of those professions to play and then wind up selling your business 13 years later. What was that all about?
Yeah, I think it was a significant help for me to have a background understanding of the financial health of a practice and knowing that not just from working with my father, but also with the accounting degree.
Yes.
Numbers are really important. They tell a story, whether
Yeah.
it's any type of business that you have.
Yeah.
And so you really have to understand those numbers and then know how to respond or react or you know, pivot or make a direction based on what those numbers are telling you. So I definitely think that helped me tremendously from the business owner side of things,
Mhm.
having a better foundation to work from.
Mhm.
But the interesting thing is for most dentists in dental school, you get almost zero experience or education about running a dental practice on your own. You learn how to be a clinician, and even that, you still have so much to learn and understand after you graduate. But as far as being a business owner, you really don't know anything about that. So there's a lot of different things you have to learn, a lot of different hats you have to wear. That's part of the reason why I think I was kind of intrigued by it. I like the fact that there's a lot of different elements that you're involved in, but you do have to gain an understanding of it. So having a foundation with understanding the numbers was really important to me. I think I advocate that for everybody. You need to know what your numbers are. You need to know what they mean. You need to know how to adapt and change and progress and grow based on the information it's giving you. It's kind of like your overall health, right? We take
Yeah.
certain measurements about our bodies, and it tells us
Mhm.
how we're doing with our
Yeah.
health. And
Yeah.
that's we use that as feedback to know how we can maybe change or do things differently potentially. So, so yeah, I'm happy to share kind of my journey as a dentist and as a practice owner, and then also what inspired me to make a pivot to actually now do what I'm doing now, which is I now coach and mentor private practice owners. And so I think a lot of that desire came from my own experience in recognizing how much of a need there is to better advocate and support private practice owners. And so in my journey, I was very fortunate when I graduated dental school. I first jumped right in and did an associate with another dentist who'd been practicing for 30 plus years, had an established practice that had an awesome culture that he created. He was an amazing leader, clinically, had amazing skills. And so I was fortunate to have a mentor with me for the first 4 years of practicing, three of them as an associate. And then I purchased a practice. He then worked back for me as an associate for 1 year before he retired.
Oh, wow.
That that time with him was invaluable. I don't think there's any other way I could have accelerated my growth faster than being able to work underneath someone like that. And so I found the importance of having a mentor, and I would say kind of like a coach for me initially to help me really progress along my path to becoming a business owner and a practice owner. So in purchasing a practice, I walked into a great situation. I was very fortunate to do so. And so for me, once I had that ownership, it was more about trying to figure out how to make it my own. There's a lot of things I loved of that the previous owner did that I really wanted to carry forward and continue to do. But there are some elements of it that I really wanted to, individualize and make sure it was reflective of my core values and beliefs and my vision for the practice. And so that definitely took some time for me to kind of understand what that was and how to approach that best. But the great thing was is the number one thing that helped us be successful as a practice and truly to find fulfillment in what we did was focusing on people.
Mm.
It's really about building the right team, having the right people in your team, uh, building the right culture, and becoming the right type of leader, and investing in your number one asset for your practice, which is your team. And so I really understood that well, and that's what my mentor taught me and helped me understand better through his example. Was how to be there for your team and how to build an environment for them where everyone can thrive through empowering them. And so through that, we were able to create an amazing patient experience for all of our patients. And so, from the time that I started there to the time I sold my practice, we never spent a dime on marketing. Very fortunate to not have to utilize that as a tool. I know that that's an essential tool for a lot of dentists, and I don't want to say that you shouldn't do that. I think it's very important. It's very valuable, especially if you're focusing on growth. But we really focused on creating a type of patient experience that allowed the opportunity for patients to refer others to us. And so we got to a point where we probably had about 50 to 60 new patients per month. About 90% of those were from referrals. We had over 3,000 active patients. My hygiene was booked out over 6 months.
Oh, my
Uh,
God.
Restorative was booked out 4 months or more. And so I was very, very busy. I tried to bring on associates. It didn't really work out. I don't think I was really built or meant to have work with other doctors in that relationship. I think I tended to thrive on my own, and so I kept that model. But it felt very overwhelming. It was just kind of like I was working 6 days a week. I was staying later. I'd come home from work and just being overwhelmed and not having anything left in the tank to give to my family. I would think I went 10 years without taking a vacation with my wife.
Oh,
Um, it was great because we had a lot of patience and we were very busy, but I was not experiencing a lot of joy or fulfillment in what I was doing. And so it was kind of at that moment. I remember one day just like driving to work, and I remember stopping off. This is in Colorado, off of C 470. pulling off Broadway on that exit. And as I'm stopping at the stoplight, I'm just like talking to God. I'm just praying to him, just saying, God, can you help me figure out what it's like to experience joy in life? Because I just don't know what that's like.
Mm.
Like I'm supposed to be joyful right now. Like we have a busy practice, things are going well. But what is this joy like that everybody talks about that they're supposed to find in dentistry? I'm just not finding it, you know? And at that time, I was kind of talking to my sister. She's been a practice management consultant. She's a transition specialist. And she's like, Eric, I really think you need to reach out to this guy. I really think he can help you. You have a lot of good things going for you, but you're not experiencing the freedoms you'd like to have in your life and in your practice. And so, and that was the other thing too, is like for how hard I was working, I was not being compensated very well for it. Um, and so it's like you're working really hard, but you're in there with all these insurances. There's some procedures you're losing money on when you do it. And so it's just like, man, where's this dream that we were talking about, back in dental school? Like, yeah, I can't wait until I'm a dentist and I'm living the life and loving what I'm doing. What is that? I don't even know what that is. And so, um, you know, I, my sister was a great person to reach out to. She just provided some advice and some counsel about things that I could do to help. At the time, she really wanted to connect me with a consultant who helped me really start to build freedoms in my practice. And one of the main things I was able to do at that time that created a lot more freedom was transition out of network with insurances. I was in a great position to do so. It was a very strong, healthy practice, had a great team in place. And so when I worked with him, he just said, Eric, you know what? I think you can drop everything. And I was in network with 20 or more insurances, umbrella plans, everything. And he really gave me the confidence to make that decision because I think a lot of dentists have the fear of like, I don't want to drop insurance. I'm worried about losing patients. What's that going to do for my practice? And I just decided, you know what? I got to trust this guy and what he's recommending that I do. And so I did. All at once. I dropped all of my insurances other than Delta Dental Delta Premier, I should say. I dropped the PPO plan. And that was the best decision I've ever made in my practice to create freedom for myself. Immediately, my income went up quite significantly, probably 20, 30%. I started taking more time off. I reduced the number of days I was working per week. I started taking vacations for the first time. We took our family to Hawaii, which was
Nice
awesome.
place to
Yeah,
start.
yeah. Usually our vacation was like, let's go visit the in-laws, and we're going to go
Right.
travel to their place and stay for a few days. That was my idea of a vacation before, and so I had more freedom there, and then just more freedom in the relationships that I wanted. Like I was able to be more present with my wife, with my kids, with the people my friends and other people in my life, and then I could start, pursuing more of what I felt like was my purpose. And so, in going through this whole thing, I realized that there, as a dental practice owner, you feel like you're on an island. You feel like nobody can understand what you're going through. You don't know where to go to get the help and support you need. You feel like everyone who's out there to help you is out to just get your money, which is not true for most people. Most people genuinely want to help you with what it is you need, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like everybody's knocking on your door. And so it's like, how can you position yourself better to make sure that you can find success and joy and really thrive in an area where you enjoy what you do? And I think most dentists really love patient care. That's why they got into this. They want to take care of their patients, provide awesome care for them. But there's so many other hats and elements and things you have to worry about that it just becomes overwhelming. It becomes too much. And a lot of times these dentists get to the point where they're like, I don't know what to do. I just want to sell my practice. I'll sell to a DSO or I'll do something else. I just can't handle all this. But what you have to do, and what I was able to do, what the consultant also helped me with, is you need to build the right team around you. You're not meant to wear all the hats and perform all the duties and responsibilities for practice ownership. There's so much that you can hand off to somebody else where that's their expertise.
Mhm.
As a practice owner, the answer is not finding how to do something, it's figuring out the right who can help you with what it is you need to solve. So
Mhm.
if you have an issue with staff conflict, we're not experts at that, right? Like we didn't get training on how to resolve conflict,
Correct.
but there's people out there who specifically know how to help you with that.
Mhm.
If you don't understand your numbers, guess what? There's somebody who can help you with that. You need an accountant, right? They understand your books, a bookkeeper. If you want to be able to invest in certain things, it's like you need somebody who can help you with that. You're not an investment, king. It's like let's find somebody that will help you with that aspect of it and take that burden off of your shoulders. But we tend to carry a lot of these things because we want to have our hands in it. Part of it, I think we're perfectionists oftentimes, and so we want to have control over everything. You have
Mhm.
to learn how to give up some of that control and allow other people to come in and be a part of your team to help you be successful and create more freedom. And so I recognize there's this huge need out there that there's so many dentists that are just getting burnt out and they don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And I just love being able to take that person who's on the verge of wanting to sell a practice and help them turn things around and actually find joy and fulfillment in what they do. Surround them with the right people, the right team internally and externally, so they can start to enjoy again what they once enjoyed at the very beginning.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of my journey. And that's the reason why I transitioned away from dentistry. I realized that initially I was trying to do this while I was practicing, and I just couldn't do both at the same time. So I had to make a decision. And for me, I felt like I could have a different type of impact by doing this. And I just don't know if there's the support and advocacy that I'd love to see in our profession to help private practice owners in this regard. So I've decided to pour all of my time, energy, and soul into help with private practice owners. That's I have a soft spot in my heart for all of them. I've experienced it. I've been through it, the lows and the highs, and I just want to be able to be there for them to help them on their journey. So that's kind of a long-winded story. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of where I'm at now, and that's where I feel like I can best help serve people in my life right now.
That's an awesome story, man. I really appreciate you sharing that information with us. You know, one of the thoughts that kind of caught my attention was you saying that you wanted to make sure you you want to make sure you have the right leadership. I'm paraphrasing quality or whatever it was. It was something you got to be the right type of leader. You want to be the right type of leader. What is the right type of leader?
Everything I believe in what I've experienced in my journey as a private practice owner and in life in general, everything is rooted in trust.
Mhm.
And trust is not earned, trust is given.
Mhm.
So, as a leader, as you give trust to your team to fulfill their role, their responsibility, and empower them in that so that they have the autonomy and ability to make choices that they feel are best in their situation, they're going to thrive in their position in your office and in their role.
Mhm.
And so I am very hands off in that regard.
Mhm.
I think initially I wanted to kind of micromanage things and I wanted to have my hand in everything. But I realized that the more freedom I gave them, the more they stepped up. And not only just stepped up, but did far beyond anything that I would have expected they would do. But they needed to know that I trusted them in that. And so if there's anything to start off with as far as a leader, it's really giving trust to the people that are around you on your team. And so, and then a second piece, which I think often gets overlooked, is vulnerability. Your team needs to know that you're human like everybody else, and
Mhm.
it's okay to be vulnerable with your team.
Right.
To let them know that, look, I'm human just like you guys. I make mistakes just like you do. I'm trying my best just like you are, but I'm on this journey with you guys. That we're all striving for the same thing, and so it's very important to have a very clear vision about what it is that you're striving for. If you don't know what your target is, it's pretty hard to know where to shoot. So you have to know what your vision is, and you need to know as a leader how to effectively and very clearly communicate that vision with everybody else in your office.
Mhm.
And as you do that, you then give them the opportunity for themselves to decide what does that look like in their role. And
Mhm.
that those roles need to be clearly defined so that they know what that is. But then they can take that and then they can decide how they want to implement that. And as a leader, you have to let them decide what's going to be best for them. It doesn't matter. I didn't care how they did it. What I was focused on was, in the end of the day, is it in line with our vision? Are we
Mhm.
getting the results we're looking for? And if it is, I don't care how you do it.
Mhm.
But they need that individuality, that autonomy to be able to make it their own and take ownership over it. And so when I did that, I noticed that over time you build incredible loyalty with your team members. They would have been willing to do anything for me in that practice, and they did. If I needed something from them, they would do it. But it's because they knew that I loved them, I cared about them, and I wanted the best for them. And they need to know that every single day that you're showing up because you want what's best for them. It's
Mhm.
not about what you're expecting from them.
Mhm.
And so I guess those are kind of the elements of leadership that I think or find to be most valuable based on my experience.
Yeah, for sure, indeed. So when you give them the opportunity to um, work uh, sort of like on an autonomous way within their domain, of course, um, how does SOPs come into the play? Was that something that you guys did, or you just let it go with with what they were doing at that particular time, at that moment with the staff?
Yeah, yeah. Anytime we had standard operating procedures, we made sure that everybody was involved, particularly those who are involved with that specific operating procedure, that they're involved in the decisions on how to set that up.
Okay.
And so when you start to collaborate as a team about what those look like, and they are incredibly important, you have to have your systems and processes in place in a practice to work efficiently and to make sure everything flows well within the practice. There needs to be accountability, making sure that people know their specific roles, what they're supposed to be doing, who's reporting back, whatever it is. And so when you're developing that, I like to include them in that because if I just come to them and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the plan. And I'm the one that came up with it." How bought in are they into that process or that procedure, that operating procedure? They're not because they weren't involved in creating or developing it. But if you include them in that process of putting those together, I guarantee that what they come up with is going to be far better than anything you'll come up with on your own.
That is
And
good.
they know.
That's good.
So,
Refreshing.
yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love that. So I know you say you're a stickler to numbers, not just because you are a former accountant, is probably still doing some of that work, but um, what numbers are you looking at right away when you go in it and actually, do a scan of a potential client that you want to work with, or they want to do work with you? How does that pan out? What goes on when you're trying to make that decision whether you want to do this or not?
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers that matter. I think one of the numbers that is the most valuable from the very beginning is knowing your source of new patients. First off, the number of new patients that you have and the source of new patients.
Mm,
If you're getting very few referrals, that's going to tell me a lot about the story about what's potentially happening in your practice. And what we see oftentimes when dentists come to us is they might have a lot of new patients coming in. Maybe they have a really strong marketing program, whatever it might be, but they might be losing just as many patients out the back door at the same time. So you have to understand like what's happening in that process. Why are we losing patients? What part of that experience is not going well for the patient? What do we need to address and focus on? And so that's kind of where I like to start is that tells me initially kind of what type of practice they have. Some dentists are perfectly happy with doing a ton of marketing and not worrying too much about creating an amazing patient experience. They just want to create one that's okay, and they're not too concerned about like people leaving and really wanting to refer to other individuals. And that's okay. That's the great thing about private practice is you can create the practice that is best for you, your personality, and what works in your situation. And so I don't ever want anyone to feel like there's a right or wrong answer to this. Um, but I feel like that's an area that we can help them dramatically initially if we can if understand more about the type of practice they are in that regard. And so that's definitely one number we look at. Recall is another really important one. How many of your patients are getting rescheduled for treatment? Usually, when you're struggling with filling your schedule, if you just start with doing more with your recall program, that's going to have the most significant impact for the lowest cost. And
mhm.
so going back and look at the number of patients that are actually being scheduled, everything that come in for an appointment, and if they're not, what can we do to capture those opportunities? But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of numbers that are important. We typically always recommend and we use internally a data analytic program that runs all those numbers for us so we can see a lot more in depth all the information that we have. And those numbers tell a story about that practice. And so every single practice is going to be different when we run into that. So it's nice to have all that information that we can use to customize, their specific strategy or game plan is going to work best for them based on what their desire is, what their vision is for their practice.
That's great. So they pretty much are in control of their future. You just want to find out what they need to do in terms of some of the pieces that may be taking them away from exactly what they want to do. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems as if you want them to do exactly the work that they feel comfortable with. And at some point in some stages, you're going to find where you can kind of make whatever they are doing, whatever strategy, whatever leadership strategy they have, well, this is what's going to make it better, you know, and by doing this. That, I mean, you're really flexible in your approach with respect to working with dentists. Are you just working directly with private practices? Are there groups? Are there DSOs involved? How are you doing your work
Right
primarily?
now, our main focus is on solo practitioners that own their own practice only. It's the one thing I understand best. I think over time we're going to start developing more opportunities, and we do have some group practices we work with as well.
Mm,
But I feel like that's the individual that we are best positioned to help most. We don't do anything with DSOs. That's a topic for another conversation. I'm a huge advocate for keeping people in private practice when that's the best thing for them, but just making sure that they have the right support and advocacy that they need to be successful in that arena.
mm,
I'm not saying that a DSO couldn't be the right fit for somebody. I think there's a time and a place or for everybody and or corporate or whatever it might be. I know some people that are very happy in their situation. I don't want to take away from that,
mm,
but I do want to advocate for the model of choice that I felt was most rewarding for me.
mm, mm. That's interesting. You want to definitely uh, feel comfortable in your own shoes, so to speak, and steer the ship the way you want it, the way you think it should be steered. Yeah, I do see you um, doing the kind of work within the dental field that's solo practitioner. I see that because, of course, with your core values saying what they said, being like compassionate about what you do. Uh, I mean, I understand that. So it resonates. So I'm wondering, your ability to go out and counsel the way you do, what part of that what part of your dad's position? I mean, when he was doing what he did, I mean, he's probably still doing it. I don't know, but helping dentists the way he has. I mean, is some of the work that you learned from working with him that you use, are you using some of that information with your own practice right now?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because growing up, I used to hear stuff from my dad all the time, and he'd get so many eye rolls from me, like, how many times am I going to hear this from my dad about, trying to be a certain type of person or whatever, this certain type of leader. And as life goes on, I realize more and more how valuable that insight he's provided to me all throughout my life is to everything that I'm trying to help Dennis with today, or helps me in my own business or others that I interact with. And so he has a ton of great insight to just finding what I think is most important, which is really finding joy and fulfillment in life.
Hmm.
And the thing that he really focused on a lot was making transformational changes as opposed to transactional. And I think a lot of times in business, it's very easy for us to approach a business with a transactional mindset. We're looking at systems, processes, numbers, but the problem is when we view people as an object rather than a human being.
Mm,
And he really taught me the importance of viewing people as human beings, and that our job as a leader is to help people transform. For first and foremost, for us to go through these transformational experiences through life, but also give others that same opportunity to become something more, something better than they currently are, and to be on this path of growth and opportunity. So he always talked about transformational. And he was in a business that it was kind of challenging because he was a transition broker. So he helped dentists with buying and selling practices, and you could say that a lot of that is very transactional,
mhm,
but he was always very passionate about the transformational components of that, and wanting to help the doctors that bought the practice afterwards as well too, really find joy and fulfillment in what they did. So I think there's a part of him that wishes he was able to or was able to help more in that regards. And I think he's kind of vicariously living through me now as I'm doing what I'm doing, to try to help create more of these transformational opportunities for people to become something better than what they currently are.
So are you like checking boxes as you talk to your prospective clients, or you actually the ones that you actually have? Are you saying to yourself, or I mean, do you have a system in place that says, okay, what is going to be the key transformative moment, or what's going to be that aha moment for them to see that this is what you wanted, and here it is. You
Yeah.
know.
Uh, I think the tendency in situations like that where oftentimes we can see what they need, right?
Hmm.
I can look at a practice, I can talk to a dentist, I can look at their numbers, and I can tell right away what it is they need.
Hmm.
But it's so much more powerful when you can create experience on a path of self-discovery, where
Hmm.
they can discover that on their own, what
Hmm.
it is that they might need to change, because we're motivated when we're the ones to discover it.
Oh
And
yeah.
we decide for ourselves that we want to make that change. If I
Mm.
come to you and say, you know what, you're not doing these five things right, you need to start doing these five things. How motivated are you going to be to do something about that? Not very much at all, right? And so it's the same thing. When people come to us, they're already in a position where it's as a position of vulnerability and a willingness and a humility to be teachable, coachable, and to try to discover for themselves what's going to be best for their situation. And that's what I love about helping those that are struggling the most. It's like they're in that position of humility where it's like, okay, I'm now willing to be open to receiving more insight, knowledge, whatever it is that's going to help me in my experience to find more joy in what I'm doing. And so that's what opens the doors for us to come in and lead them down a path that's going to be best for them. And so a lot of times we let them kind of dictate what path they want to go down. We're just there to guide them in that journey. In the meantime, but also providing some of the structure, insight, and other things that maybe they don't know about that we can also give them as well too.
Oh wow. So then you're not really giving any answers. Like no. I'm like I'm giving you areas to choose from. How do you do that? That is interesting.
Well, I think it's twofold. It is a path of self-discovery, but there is pieces that we do have to give them. Like if they just don't know about something in particular and they're interested to learn about it, we'll tell them about it. Um, but there's a part of coaching where it's like you have to decide and discover for yourself what's important to you. I can't decide for you what that is. I can't tell you what your vision is. I can't tell you what you want to focus more on. Like those are things that you need to know and discover for yourself. And so there's just elements that we have in place that help them along that path through either conversation or through certain part of our program where we allow them the space and opportunity to discover those things.
Mm, mm. So what resonates with you most when I know you said you like to deal with dentists that are on the path or the path of humility. They understand that they need help and they don't have any problem with getting it. So, but what resonates with you most when you're doing the work that you do? What really excites you about this work?
I get really excited when I'll give you an example. I had one of my former classmates. We've kind of stayed in touch over the years, and I think it was like 5:30 at night. I just get a random text from him and just says, Eric, I don't know if I could do this any longer. Like, I just want to sell my practice. I just can't handle this. I just lost half of my team. I don't know what to do. And he's just in this like chaotic panic mode and just kind of hitting rock bottom for him. And so for me, I love being able to just have an opportunity to help these individuals in their darkest moments of life. And so we jumped on a phone call, 45 minutes, I think we were on the phone. After we ended that phone call, he kind of did almost a complete 180. He had some inspiration to know kind of what to do next. He was motivated. He's already got an office manager he's hired. He's in the process of hiring an ETA. He's going to be looking for a hygienist potentially soon too. And so it's like I love being able to like help somebody turn their life around and just be more motivated, engaged, inspired to start working towards the ultimate vision that they have. They just need someone to be there with them to do it. I haven't had to give them a ton of advice. I just needed to be there for him. I just needed to listen to him and respond in an empathetic way and really try to understand what he's going through. And that's what I love about what we do is all of our coaches and mentors are all either current or former private practice owners. So when you're reaching out to us and when you're talking to us, you're talking to someone who's walked that path before, who's done what you're trying to do. And so they can relate to the things and the situations you're going through and be in a better position to help you in that regard. It's not just about the processes and systems and all the things. There's a lot of people that can help you with that part of it, but there's very few people that can actually understand what it is that you're going through and help you through that. And so that's, I think, what's kind of unique about what we do. And that's the part that I love is like, hey, somebody's really struggling. Let me just listen to you. And most times people just need someone to talk to about it.
Absolutely.
And then just help them just to start turn things around. And that's just so fulfilling to me.
Yeah. So how many people do you have on board of your organization? I mean,
As far as like a part of our team right now,
yes. I mean, in terms of the consultants, because it sounds like you got more than one, more than two, probably.
well, right now, we're working with a lot of other companies and organizations. And so, depending on the needs of the dentist, some things we'll handle internally,
Mhm.
but there's also lots of opportunities for us to collaborate with other people who can help dentists as well too. So, if there's a specific need that we can't handle ourselves, I've been spending the last 2 years doing nothing but networking with other individuals who can specifically help dentists. And I love it and appreciate people who have the same vision and values that we do for our company because I want to make sure if I'm going to be referring somebody to another company for something, that they're going to receive incredible service from them. So that's really important to me. So internally right now, we've got some coaches we're working with. We are building a team so that we can start impacting a lot more. It's my goal by the end of next year to have dozens, if not hundreds, of dentists and mentors who are working with us internally so that we could be helping thousands of dentists across the country. And that's my ultimate goal and vision long term is I want to bring in more mentors and coaches who are private practice owners or former private practice owners to be able to help on this journey to connect us more with each other to help each other out.
Oh, that sounds great. So your main focus outside of bringing other mentors, bringing other consultants in is really showing the pathway, if you will, of I guess least resistance as they move through their journey. You want to, I don't know, show them that these are some of the things that you're looking at. This is what is going well, and these are some of the options that you have. What do you think is the best route for you? And I don't know if you kind of like lean on them to say this way, not that way. I don't know how much of that is taking place, but it sounds like you keep a pretty open case of letting them do it, letting them understand what really feels good for them.
Yeah, I use the analogy of like what you would do with a patient when they come into your practice. The first thing you do is a comprehensive exam. You need to diagnose everything, and then you come up with treatment plan options. And that's the same thing the way we approach this. It's like, let's bring you in, we're going to diagnose everything,
Mhm.
and then we're going to come up with treatment plans, basically. It's kind of what it looks like. Let's figure out what treatment plan best suits your vision, your
Yeah.
needs, and your desires. And so,
Mhm.
but they need to have options available to them.
Yes.
If we just give them like an open blank slate and say, okay, well, tell us what to do next, that's not what that's not how it works.
Right.
We have to provide some structure and opportunity and options for them to
Yes.
know what they can do moving forward. And
Yes.
then we allow them the space to choose what they feel is best for them
Mhm.
and that's up to them. And it's the same thing. And that's what I do with my patients, actually.
Mhm.
Whenever I had a patient come in, new patient, we did a comprehensive exam. I always had treatment options. I never came to them and said, this is what you need to do. It's what I think is best for you. I said, look, we've got three different options we could consider for this. What do you feel like is best for your situation? And then I would just educate them about all of their options, what the pros, the cons, whatever in their particular situation, and then when they're the ones that decide what they want to choose, they're bought into that. So I
Yes.
didn't have to do anything to convince them about what to do for that treatment plan. Once
Mhm.
they were the ones that decided, they're like, okay, let's do it.
Mm.
was any challenge after that. So it's the same thing when we're working with our dental clients. I don't ever want them to feel like we're going to pigeonhole them into something very specific that they're not comfortable with. That's
Yes.
why I want to provide options and make sure they're comfortable with the path they're taking, knowing that they're a part of that journey. They're a big part of that journey. And so they have to be bought into what it is they're doing. And if they're not, that's okay. And if it's
Mhm.
not the right time for them, that's okay too.
Mhm.
If we're not the right company to work with them, great. Let's find the right person who is the right individual or company to work with you to help you with your needs. That's really what it's about.
Mhm. Wow, Eric, wow, you have a lot of information there. Hopefully, you start writing a book on it. It's definitely something. These are the kind of conversations people want to talk about. They like systems in place, and well, dentists I'm speaking of, they like that. They want that. They want systems in place, and if they have a system or options to look at, then they can move or make a decision as to which way they want to go with it. Um, wow. So, what have we missed? We've been talking quite a bit here. Um, is there something that you would like to talk about that we haven't covered at this point?
I don't know. This has been, I guess, good so far. I hope I haven't been talking too much.
No, no,
I feel
not
like
at
I have a
all.
little bit, but
We love it. We
um, for me, the message I just want to get out to the dentist right now is like, if there's someone out there right now who's just struggling and does has no idea what to do, like my phone number and my email is open to anybody to talk anytime. No pressure, no sales pitch. Like I am not here to try to convince people to come and join, our coaching program. That's not my job. My job is to make sure that if there's somebody out there who doesn't know what to do next and they just need somebody to talk to, that's what I'm there for. And that's what I want to be able to spend my time doing. And then if at some point they decide, you know what, it would make sense to work with you, that's great. And if not, 100% okay with that too. I want to do whatever's best for that individual, but I want to help rescue them. We've had several of our colleagues here in the Denver metro area have taken their own life in the last few years. It's hard to see, and this is happening across the country. Dentistry is very hard. It's hard on your body, it's
yes,
hard on your mind, it's
yeah,
hard on you emotionally.
yeah.
It takes so much out of you. People do not realize how difficult this profession is. And yet we do so little to connect ourselves with our colleagues. How often do we actually reach out to our neighbor across the street who's also a practice owner and just talk to them? And that's part of what we're creating too is a community where we can just come in where it's a safe space for us to collaborate, to just if you need to vent, you can vent, to encourage one another, whatever it is that you need, that's what we're here for. And so I just want to offer that to anybody out there right now that there's no expectation at all that if you just need somebody to talk to, you can reach out to me anytime anytime. No strings attached, nothing else. If you just need someone to talk to because you're in a dark place right now in your life, like please reach out to me. And if you're not going to reach out to me, I hope there's somebody that you feel comfortable enough to reach out to that would be willing to listen, be empathetic, and try to understand what it is you're going through. Those that are in the best position to do so are your colleagues.
Mhm.
Reach out to a colleague, find somebody you can talk to about the challenges that you're facing. I promise there's a brighter future ahead of you, but you have to have the right people around you to help you in that regard. And that person might be somebody who you already know, or maybe you've talked to in the past before. It could be anybody. It could be a friend. It could be a family member, whoever it is. Uh, Start connecting with people. That is the pathway to finding um, more joy and fulfillment in life is through the connections we have with the people that are around us.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's kind of my message. I don't know if I want to share anything else other than that. Is just like, find somebody to connect to if you need to.
Mhm.
That's what we're all here for is to help one another. We all have certain gifts, skills, talents, abilities. Let's take advantage of the opportunities we have to allow somebody else to help us with something that we need. It doesn't have to be a paid service. It could just be a friend. Just reach out to a friend, just talk to a friend. Maybe that's the perfect person you need to talk to right now. So that's kind of my parting message, I guess, from what I've shared so far today.
Yeah, that's just like what you were saying in the very beginning when you had that conversation with your sister. And she kind of got you some information and told you, yeah, but this is what you might want to do. And then you wind up talking to the consultant that helped you move in the direction you needed to move at that particular time. Awesome. Eric, thank you so much for coming in and talking with us this afternoon. If somebody wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
I'm happy to give my cell phone. I'll give it to you right now. In fact, it's
Okay.
303 242 0277. 303 242 0277. And then my email address is Eric, ERIC, at CTC, that's cat tomcat, dash pathways.com. Eric at ctc-pathways.com. I'm open to chat anytime anybody needs it. You don't have to be a dentist. I don't even care. If you're struggling in the dental space at all and you just need help, please
Love it.
reach out to me.
Yes. Thank you so much, Eric. Appreciate it.
The Wealthy Dentist podcast is built on connections, opportunities, and meaningful conversations that help jumpstart careers and boost the ROI on your business. Is there a topic you're passionate about or someone in the dental community who should share their story with us? We want to hear from you. Email your suggestions to the Wealthy Dentist Podcast at gmail.com, and let's create content that informs, inspires, and uplifts the dental world. Your ideas could spark our next big conversation. Let's make it happen. I'm Ward Powell, your host at the Wealthy Dentist Podcast, thanking you for being a part of our journey.